One of the things that really pisses me off is when people ask why a person didn't leave sooner. There is multiple layers to leaving an abusive relationship. It isn't just like leaving any normal relationship. From my own personal experience, when I found out about my ex-husband's affair, I agreed to work on the marriage for 6 months. At that point, I didn't realise that I'd been experiencing financial abuse or emotional abuse. None of that was illegal at that point. So I didn't realise that that is what I had been experiencing. But what I did know is that I didn't have the finances or the stability to be able to go out on my own. My mental health wasn't in a place where I felt like I could cope. So I made the choice that I would stay there until I was stable enough. And I gave him 6 months to prove to me that he wanted to save the marriage. During that 6 months, I told him repeatedly that our marriage wouldn't survive them working together because it was a workplace affair. And yet he never made any moves to try and find another job or to try and leave that place. So I knew that he wasn't willing to work on the marriage. I learned how to drive. I saved money. When I found out about the affair, I did end up going on medication for my mental health. Because I was on medication for anxiety attacks and depression and suicidal thoughts, my ex-husband and his family threatened to have me committed and that they were going to take custody of the girls, and that I would lose the house, I would lose my kids, I would lose everything. So in that 6 months, I got myself to a place where I was stable enough, where I was working with the doctor. I'd been through CBT, and I could actually start, I ticked all of the boxes. They couldn't use my mental health against me. I needed time in order to get things in place so that I had my escape route. I had my way of getting out of there. And I was very, very fortunate that that took me 6 months. It can take years. When you are leaving an abusive person, they will do everything they can to destroy you. When we were selling the house, he was keeping all of the paperwork, so I wasn't being told when the exchange was going to happen, so I didn't know the dates. And he told me a week ahead of time that if it doesn't go through on this date, I'm moving back in with you. So I had a week's notice to vacate this property. Technically, I was homeless for a week, because we closed on that property, exchanged contracts, because there was no way I was letting him back in. It was very similar to what my father did to my mother when she divorced him, when she applied for a divorce. He sold the house that we were living in. We got an eviction notice from the new owners. So that whole taking away stability and forcing you to live at the extremes, it is a power move for an abusive person. And if they feel like they are losing control of you, they will punish you for that, and they will try to destroy you in any way that they can. And that will be your mental health, and that will be your physical health, and that will be financially, and that will be your career. However they can destroy you, they will try. So the reason that somebody doesn't leave sooner may be because they need to get things into place. The reality of it is that when you are in an abusive relationship, it is very much like the frying pan and the fire. Sometimes the abusive relationship is the better of the two options. Sometimes being in the relationship means that you still have the security of having somewhere to live, but leaving the abusive relationship may mean that you are homeless and you will be sleeping on the streets. It may be that, you know, by maintaining the relationship, that they're not going to get violent while you've got nowhere else to run to. And actually, you know, if you end the relationship, there is the reality that they could become violent and try to take your life. The reason that people stay in abusive relationships is sometimes it is the best choice for them to make at that point. It isn't because they have so many other options and so many other luxuries that they are turning their back on, and they are choosing to stay in this place where they suffer. Sometimes the place where they are currently suffering is actually better the devil you know. and it gives them a security that they wouldn't have if they left. That whole question comes up, and it's like, well, why didn't you leave sooner? Well, maybe they didn't have the mental strength or the financial stability or a safe place to go. Maybe being in that relationship felt like the better of the two options. Maybe being in that relationship felt like they would be safer than if they left that relationship. And so you've got to have some compassion when you are talking to people that are survivors of domestic abuse, that are survivors of financial abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, of sexual abuse. And the reality is that a lot of what people do in those difficult times is survival. You aren't going through that with logic in, oh, okay, well, these are all of my options mapped out in front of me. It is survival. It is, what do I have to do to survive this situation? And if you have never been in a situation where your survival is on the line, then it's not going to be easy for you to comprehend that. So please have more compassion, please be more understanding, and please can we stop asking people these questions about why they didn't leave sooner or why they put up with what they did. Because honestly, from somebody that has experienced it, from somebody that has spoken to thousands of women who have experienced it, none of us look at it and go, oh yeah, I'm really glad that I stayed as long as I did. None of us look back with hindsight, with clarity, with understanding, and are glad that we stuck around as long as we did. Now we can see other options. We can see the possibilities that were there for us. But at the time, all we could see was survival. And so give us some grace. And if you have experienced that, if you are still beating yourself up for the fact that you stuck around longer than you should have because you feel like you wasted so many years of your life on somebody that was treating you like crap, if you try and speak to somebody about what you went through and you feel like a nutcase because even in your own head you're like, why the fuck did I put up with that? Give yourself some compassion, because you are looking at what you went through as the version of who you are now. And you need to be compassionate to yourself because you were a different person back then. And that version of you, she deserves some care, some compassion, some support. She's doing the best that she can with what she's got. She is surviving. And so, although now you may be able to see things clearly, don't judge her. She doesn't deserve that. Give her some love, some compassion, and thank her. Because without that past version of you doing what she had to do to survive, you wouldn't be here now. So have some compassion to yourself.